Today I'm going to play 100 Days of Rimworld. We're going to get started with a crash landed scenario, and we're on Cassandra Classic Strive to Survive. And we have our 3 units here. We have Kessa, we have Masaru and Nathan. Kessa is okay, and Masaru is very good at shooting, and we have a melee character who is a brawler in Nathan. So the first thing we're going to do is allow all items, and let's go. We're going to use a naturally occurring little structure here and put some beds down for our guys to have somewhere to sleep at night. And we're going to put a torch in there for light, and we're going to use the wall torch lamp since they have added that to the game. Now we're going to create our little growing zone, and we're going to grow potatoes. I like to make this nice and big, especially on the higher difficulties. I might not need that much here, but we're going to grow potatoes since we don't have any fertile land in the area. And then we're going to put down our stonecutter's table so we can start building some walls in our base. And we're just going to give them a little bench there as well. Then we're going to start deconstructing everything in the area. We're going to put deconstruction as our first job so that it doesn't get pushed down the list when we start constructing things. It's great for early game materials. Day 3, and we are going to start getting our work orders in order. We should have done this a little bit early, but it's fine. I normally pause when I'm playing Rimworld and get everything set up before I start playing. But in this instance, we're doing no pause for the beginning. And because of that, I'm a little bit behind on some of the tasks that we need to do. Also on day 3, we are going to get our walls set up. We have a really good location for base, so why not use it straight away? I don't normally do this either super early. We're going to make a wall blocking off the only entrance to our base to add us some defenses early game. Then we're going to set up some bedrooms for our colonists. Kessa in particular doesn't like to have too good of a bedroom, so we're going to keep her separate, and we're going to also make sure that we don't put too much into her room. I was originally going to put heaters in here, but that's going to take up all of our components, so I said no, we're going to cancel that for now, put in heaters whenever we get a cold snap. So just let them finish up the bedrooms. As long as we keep Kessa's bedroom slightly worse than the rest of them, we should be fine for the playthrough. Then on day 8, we decided to start our power. We got some windmills ready, and we're going to put them up here where there's less shrubbery so that there's no trees blocking the windmills. What I like to do with the windmills is I like to take the second windmill and put it into the same area as the first one, and then you can stack those. You can grow plants normally in between the windmills if you want, but I usually put solar panels down. I find it a little bit easier that way. And we got some components as a gift, so that's going to really help us in the future. We're going to take away all the trees. We're going to probably put down some flooring, and we're going to stick in a wood fire generator as backup just in case the wind turbines don't end up having enough power when it's not very windy. And we're going to put down a simple research bench as well so we can get the researching going, maybe get some batteries into our base. So the base is coming along nicely. We have bedrooms, we have our research bench, we have some power. It's looking like we're doing pretty good so far. Now into days 10 plus, we're going to start putting down a recreation room along with somewhere for them to eat so that they don't get the mood debuff for eating without a table. And we're just going to put our table in here, surrounded by chairs, put some recreation in, just give our colonists somewhere to hang out and somewhere to eat their food, maybe have a little chat with each other and play a little bit of chess, because when you're in the middle of nowhere and you're striving to survive, the first thing you want to do is play a game of chess, of course. I think they should actually have more recreation in Rimworld. It's one of the weakest areas. Maybe in the next DLC they should add more to that feature of the game. Would really like it. Then we decided to start making a kill box. It's only going to be a basic design for this playthrough, as we don't want anything too fancy. And I also like to have my opponents who are attacking me in this game have an actual chance of fighting back. Because if you're just going to make a kill box that kills everything before they get to you, you don't really have any fighting to do. So we're just going to put ourselves a little bit of space where we have a choke point and we have our backs to the wall. And we're also going to make all of this out of granite as well. You may have noticed that I've made my first 2 walls out of limestone. I wouldn't normally go 3 deep like I do here so early on in the game. I actually probably wouldn't even build a kill box this early in the game normally. But since we made it out of limestone, we need some granite. So hence the 3 wide and hence the kill box now as well, getting it in early. On day 20 plus, Kessa decided to set fire to one of my rooms, or my recreation room actually, and she's a pyromaniac, so she won't help put out the fire either. And of course this room is going to get really hot really quickly. So for the first decision I made, I tried to get Masuru in there and try and get rid of some of the fire, but he was starting to get heat stroke, and he was also starting to take fire damage. So unfortunately this room is too hot. It's 356 degrees Celsius. So we decided to get Nathan to destroy this wall here and just add a little bit of air into the room. And yes, I know that that is probably not the best idea if this was realistic, but in this case, we're trying to let some of that heat out since we don't have any vents yet. And we're just going to let the room burn as well. We're going to get Masaru out of the room, and we're going to get Nathan away from it as well as soon as he's finished deconstructing this wall. And once the room is, you know, burnt itself out, we can reconstruct everything that's in there. This is why I don't make my bases out of wood, because this fire could have destroyed my entire base, but it actually only destroys one room since it's literally all made out of limestone. So we're completely fine here for the other rooms. Then I decided to buy a colonist and spend all my money at the same time, so it lowers my wealth in terms of actual silver on hand, but it also gives me another colonist to work. Now, what I like to try and do here is I like to try and arrest these guys so that I can free them immediately. But sometimes they could fight back. Now, the way it works here is I should have made sure of this rather than going in with a 68% chance attempt to arrest, which ended up causing a little bit of a problem. Frankie has gone berserk, and we are going to bring in our reinforcements, even though they're a little bit injured from the fire. They're only a little bit burned, so they should be completely fine. And we have to be careful not to allow the merchants from killing Frankie now that Frankie has gone berserk. So what we're going to do is we're going to put down Nathan's knife, and we're going to try and punch Frankie with our bare fists. An arrow has come in and knocked Frankie, so we're going to arrest Frankie and try and save Frankie's life. But we have to be very careful not to take on Frankie anymore, which could be a complete waste of money if Frankie has lost limbs, because we don't want a Frankie, for example, with one arm. But we got lucky that absolutely none of this ended up causing long-lasting damage. So we're going to tend to Frankie, and we're going to try and take Frankie on as one of our colonists. It's the best way to deal with this situation, in my opinion. Apart from the blotched arrest, you probably should be careful and make sure it's 100% before trying to arrest. But in general, we did what we can. We get somebody on a warding, and we should be able to get Frankie onto our team full time. Starting off 30 plus, we managed to see Winters come in. Winters is disturbing, which means that Winters could end up having some issues with our colonists in the future. Hopefully doesn't betray us. And Winters also has a special ability, but we're going to take Winters on because Winters could be quite useful for a few of their stats, and we're just going to get them set up. Hopefully this doesn't come to bite us in the ass later on. So I decided this would be a great time to get my Mechanator set up, so we put Nathan over to destroy the Exostrider. And for anyone who knows what's about to happen, I didn't realize that this is going to happen with the Exostrider, hence the melee. And in my defense, I had a cup of tea in my hand right about now, so I was literally having a cup of tea, waiting for this to be destroyed so I could start Nathan as, yeah, a Mechanator. I didn't realize that was going to happen. Luckily enough, Nathan didn't lose any limbs and only has some burns, which is completely fine. You can get over them very easily. I got really lucky, and that tea almost cost me my Mechanator. So we put out the fire, and we get the transponder, and then we accept the transponder mission, which is going to allow us to have Nathan as our Mechanator. So we have the Mechanator ship land. It has one Scorcher. Scorcher shouldn't be too difficult to take care of. So we pretty much are making sure everybody is inside the compound so that they can't go outside and get killed by the Scorcher. And I was very lucky in this instance because the Scorcher decided to attack pretty much straight away. So back outside the compound again, into defensive positions, wait for the Scorcher to come in. And if we can get this Scorcher into melee lock, then we should be able to get that mechanizer chip very easily. We got very lucky actually, because Winters was stuck outside and I hadn't realized that at that stage. And Winters also doesn't have any way to defend themselves. Literally just one gun, which isn't great against a Scorcher. If you want to fight a Scorcher, you have to melee lock them, and you need a melee weapon for that. So Nathan and Kessa on the flanks of the Scorcher, pincer move before the Scorcher could do any damage, and that's it. The Scorcher should be dead, because the Scorcher can't really melee, and most mechs can't really melee, to be honest, except for the ones that are based around melee. So always get them into melee lock. And now we're going to have our Mechanator, Nathan, who also has his little Constructoid with him. So throughout this 100 days, we are going to get all of the mechs that we can. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get them all because you have to do bosses and stuff for that. But the mechs that we do get, I'll show them off. And if you guys have never had mechs before, then it'll be great for you to see how they work. And I can show you 1 or 2 tricks with them as well. So let's do this. Then on day 40 plus, we have beggars coming in. And what I like to do for the beggars is I like to arrest the best beggar that I can find. It's my favorite way to get new colonists. If you try to take on more than one, you're going to end up with a few issues. It's doable, but it's complicated. If you try to take on one, usually the rest of the beggars will just walk away. And unfortunately, in this case, they will take out all of my security because, yeah, I didn't mean for them to die. Let's be clear. Day 60 plus, we are getting our Mechanator room ready. We have a hospital ready on the left. And if you look top left, you will notice that we have a factory going as well. So we have a little room with 2 toolboxes in the middle, which speeds up a lot of the jobs in there. That simple research bench will be coming out, so I'm not going to leave that in there for good. And yeah, we're going to be making some good progress. On the right, you will see that we're making a fridge. The reason why we're making a fridge is because any of the toxic waste that comes from the Mechanators or the mechs in general, you have to freeze them. And this little room here that we're making, keep it at -17 if you can to stop the spiders from attacking you. But if you just want to keep it frozen so that it doesn't spread, that's completely fine too. You might end up with some spawns from the spiders, but if you can handle them, you should be completely fine. So just a tip for you. So then we're going to start our mechs. We are going to make some Militors, which you need subcores for, and subcores are components and steel. Then you put them into this, and we are going to make an area for the mechs as well, which is a little trick I'll show you guys, where you build an area near the fighting zone for your battle mechs, and you turn that into a rest zone for them so that they don't use any power just traveling around doing nothing, and you can call on them whenever you want to get them to start fighting. So we're going to put it right next to the door so they'll be ready to fight whenever we have an enemy coming in to fight us. And what we're going to do is we're going to assign the mechs that area so that they can't go anywhere else. Now, there is a couple of other things you can do here, but first we're going to rename this to the mech rest area, and that is going to allow us to have them chill there and recharge. Make sure you put your mechs on recharge for this. Then I decided to get the Ancient Danger set up. Now, usually for Ancient Danger, I go there if I want to progress my weapons, because when you go in, you normally have access to new ARs and new shotguns. So what I do is I put a little bit of a kill corridor on here, and that way I get to kill some of the early attackers that are inside. But meanwhile, we have had a raid, so I'm gonna go take care of that first. And then we will go back and take care of the Ancient Danger. So everyone into position, and let's do this. We had to get everyone into the kill box in order to defend ourselves, and then the attack happened. So we're pretty well set up here. It's a pity that we don't have our mechs yet. We're going to put our melee units into the corners ready for a pincer attack, and we're going to have our rifle right at the front ready to shoot. And then as soon as the enemy stops and tries to shoot at me, I'll move the rifleman slightly away from vision so that it brings the enemies in. They all seem to have grenades and molotovs of some sort, so we're going to get these into melee lock now. So we're going to send out our melee characters. We're going to hope that this molly doesn't hit one of our characters, and because it didn't, we're fine. Unfortunately, Mazery decided to try and quench the fire and rather than attacking Lisa, who was right in front of them. So we have to take care of Lisa first, get Lisa into melee lock, and hopefully we don't lose Frankie on the left. Also need to make sure that Macery isn't about to die too. So Kess is taking some pretty strong hits from Lisa. Lisa seems to be very strong. We're going to get Nathan over to Strapping, and we'll move Winters back. Unfortunately, Strapping has decided to go in and help his friend Lisa against Kessa, and we managed to get rid of one of the attackers. 11 hours to live for Kessa, so we're going to bring Kessa back and do some field medicine just to get Kessa back to no immediate danger, which is the most important thing. And then we will continue attacking the two pigs. So it looks like the pigs are fleeing. Strapping is still interested in having a fight, so we're going to bring Nathan back. And it looks like we're going to have to finish off Strapping. Hopefully he doesn't kill Nathan with any more attacks. And once we get him down, we should be able to heal up and get back to our Ancient Danger. We're going to tend to Nathan, and we're going to tend to Masaru. Everyone should be fine. And Frankie should be able to kill Strapping. And there we go. We have it. We killed off all of the raiders. Now everyone can get back to their jobs. And Plow is running away, so we're going to get Winters to try and shoot Plow. Hopefully he hits him. We lost a right thumb on Frankie, which is very bad for manipulation. And there's the last one dead. So it took a little bit of time for us to get the Ancient Danger set up, but now that we have it set up, let's go open it. It's 80 plus now. And we are going to open it up and hopefully find some mechs inside. And hopefully we can wake some humans up and take their weapons. Usually there's a bunch of humans sleeping in there. And yeah, we have a little bit of a trap going here so that anything that comes out, usually it's a bunch of Scorchers and Sighters, we can take out a couple of those using these traps. We just have to get Nathan and the Militaurs down here, and we'll see my Militaurs for the first time as well, which is the only mix that we can make right now. So we're going to get ourselves set up so our gunners are able to have a clear line into the Ancient Danger. Kessa is going to be the one that opens up the Ancient Danger. So we're going to have to take Kessa and take them off of the draft. And unfortunately, when it comes to this, if you don't time it very well, Kessa will take a step inside the Ancient Danger after destroying the wall. So we're going to try our best to get Kessa, micromanage Kessa so Kessa doesn't end up going inside. We timed it very well with the pause. And now we're going to bring Kessa outside. And it looks like we actually don't have mechs in here. We have bulb freaks. Now, I've never actually fought bulb freaks before, so I'm not 100% sure what to expect. Kessa got shot with something. I didn't even know those things could shoot. And now they're after splitting into multiple parts, which is another thing I wasn't expecting. So we're going to learn a lot here against these bulb freaks. So we'll send the Militaurs in. They're attacking the door, which isn't very good, but hopefully they'll ignore the door after a few hits. Kessa is dying after that, so we're going to have to heal Kessa. And now they're going into the traps. And the bulb freaks seem to split into smaller blobs once they break apart. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try and knock them and let them die of, in quotes, natural causes. It looks like only the big guys split though. So I was trying to let all of them... Oh no, these guys are splitting as well. What I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to try and allow them to die from natural causes after being knocked, instead of hitting them again, to try and avoid them splitting more. So there's a bunch of them, but they seem quite squishy, kind of fleshy almost. It's interesting how they split into 3 different smaller enemies, and the smaller enemies went behind my flanks. So that was interesting. That's going to add some interesting difficulty to Rimworld for sure. but we seem to have the rest of this under control. Let's get Frankie back into the action. One of our Militors is dead. We're going to send one of our Militors back, and we're going to continue meleeing. And hopefully now we can get rid of these guys. I don't know how strong they are. I haven't actually seen them do anything apart from hitting Kessa, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a human versus blob at some point, and then we'll find out how strong these things are. So they're dying within 10 hours. We're just going to let them die naturally, and hopefully they don't explode into more. And just a quick spoiler, by the way, these tombs, I opened them and there was nothing in them. Cassandra was definitely putting a lot of pressure on us. She managed to put some infestation a couple of days later into the same location with all of the lung rot still there. So we actually have to get set up again. We sent Masaru in to start the action with our 2 Militors, and then we have a group behind them protected them. Why did I sacrifice Masaru, you ask? Masaru turned frail because of age and had pretty much the worst form of lung rot I've ever seen. And because of that, we had to sacrifice them. Well, we didn't have to, but we did. And it was probably a good choice to get rid of a colonist who's not going to be useful anymore. And these spiders haven't really done much to us. Like, we have 2 spiders left. Nathan just knocked one of them out, and then we're going to kill the last one. And then after that, we're going to try and avoid the spread of lung rot by setting everything on fire. Rest in peace, Masaru. I am sorry for having to set you on fire after you're downed, but you are surplus to requirements now. And that's it. Everyone can go back home and have their dinner. We're going to let that fire just get rid of all the lung rot and get rid of all the bodies. And we're going to have a quick funeral for Masaru as well. Everyone's kind of in a bad mood at the moment because they've been constantly fighting, and they lost one of their colonists, one of their friends. So we're just going to have a quick funeral and make everyone happy again. So we got a good funeral, which is going to give us a +5 mood boost. As I said already, Cassandra is really acting up today. She has put 3 big raids into our map in the last 10 days. I mean, technically the Ancient Danger, or opening the Ancient Danger, was my fault, but still. So wait, let's get our Militors ready, let's get Nathan ready, let's get everybody else ready, and we will defend ourselves against this next raid. So we got everyone into position. Trez, by the way, the reason why Trez is always inside the compound, Trez is incapable of violence. So I use Trez to carry people away if they get in trouble. Now, it looks like we actually took too long and the raiders have reached our base already. So we're going to have to use this door here as a choke point and hopefully not get rushed. So these guys have arrows and bows and arrows, which are quite deadly if you're not careful. You'd be surprised how strong bows and arrows are. We're going to put Winters behind the tree for a bit of cover. And we're going to keep Nathan next to the door as well. And we're going to send in our other Militor too. So our first Militor is actually doing quite good with his little shotgun. Let's send in the other one, see what happens. They haven't been melee locked yet, which I think in this case is quite okay because we want to try and shoot these guys. Winters, after taking really bad damage from these bows and arrows, even again. So we're going to have to take Winters into retreat, and we're going to have to heal him up. As I said already, these bow and arrow guys, they are not to be messed with. They are actually really strong. The Militor, for some reason, is trying to beat out the fire, even though the Militor is immune to fire damage, so we don't have to worry about that. So let's keep shooting. We can stand in the fire with him, but the humans can't, and we don't want the entire area to be burnt down. So we're going to extinguish some of these fires using Nathan. And unfortunately, we have 2 pyromaniacs on our team, which also means that we only have Nathan and Winters, I believe, who's able to actually quench the fires. No, Frankie. The other, I think Trez is a pyromaniac and Winters isn't, and Winters is currently healing, so he can't help. So we have 2 people trying to get rid of this fire. Meanwhile, the Militor is taking out the enemies, and I think there's 2 left, if I'm not mistaken. One is crawling away, and one is just standing there. So we'll see what happens here. There's one outside as well who seems to be injured. I wonder why he got injured and then started attacking my walls. But it's better for him to be out there. He manages to kill one of my Minotaurs. Let's get back into position so that we can flank him when the fire goes out. This guy is insane and decides to go straight through the fire. And yeah, he's going to catch himself on fire. Now, as far as I'm aware, these guys have a very strong fire resistance, but because he's on fire now, he can't control where he's walking, so now he's dead. So that's it for that raid. That was pretty easy, to be honest. Let's see if we can take on a new recruit, and nope. On 90 plus, we had another raid, and we are way better set up this time because we actually are in position for the raid. And I'm actually going to test out something with Winter's. We're going to use Winter's special skill that involves, I think, bringing something back to life. Now, they are actually after using an animal pulsar, which means it's after sending some of the animals in the area crazy, and they're going to start attacking me as well. So we're going to have to fight the raiders. We're going to have to fight the animals that are coming in. And soon we're going to be finding out what happens with Winters when he uses shape flesh. So we have to make sure we have line of sight for shape flesh. And we're going to use that on the dead body that's inside in our little security area where our traps are. And we're going to use that on him. It's going to bring that guy back to life. And it was perfect timing because it stopped that guy from being able to get away. And that's after splitting into 3 different ones. Our Minotaur's dead again. That bloody Minotaur has absolutely no luck. And we're going to try and kill everything now. I swear to God, we're actually causing more issues for ourselves. And we're actually helping ourselves. But it shouldn't take too long to kill this. Yeah, there we go. Then we're going to get the next 2. We're going to get them stun locked. And they just explode into bits. And then this guy is going to run away. We're not going to be able to capture him. So we reached day 100. So that is it for our 100 days. Let me know what you think of today's video. Let me know if you would have done anything differently. And if you have any questions about why I did anything the way I did it, make sure you ask. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.